something really good, something really crazy that like you could never like.
So I'm not really sure how to describe my relationship with Club Penguin. I guess it's kind of positive. I do have some nostalgia for it. I love parts of it. But also, it's probably not a good part of my childhood just because it was such a waste of money. And also, the chat rooms. Oh my god, the chat room. I also realized I haven't played the game in like 10 years, so I needed to brush up a bit on my experience. So I tried to look at a private server, and as of recording this right now, they don't even have a party going on, so what the crap? I also kinda just got invested into this private server anyway, even though there wasn't really much going on. I just kinda looked at the catalog for a little bit. Was anyone else that kind of kid that loved this game's fashion? My god, I should have been a tailor. What am I doing here? I also tried out Kart Surfer for a while, did a bunch of pro gamer flips. I don't mean to brag, but I did get all the stamps, so fuck. So this obviously makes me the most eligible and correct for this topic, even though I started all the way back in 2010, but that's kind of irrelevant right now. Okay, so here's how we're doing it. We're going lowest to highest, given light summary, since you all probably forgot what it was like to play this as a kid. My main criteria for these rankings is mostly just eventfulness. If it's like a crappy fetch quest, that's probably why I'm gonna put it low down. Otherwise, there's not really much to what I'm saying. I just kind of wanted to talk about Club Penguin at this point. Let's just get it started. 2015. This shit was so boring. It was just frustrating. It was full of these samey puzzles and fetch quests. There was really nothing to say about it. And this was also a letdown since it was so ambitious for its 10th anniversary, especially since last party had been building it up so hard. And all you really get are a bunch of dinky robot helmets that don't even look good. It essentially ends with you doing the same thing you've been doing a couple thousand times before, but twice in a row this time. And the villains being the robots is just so obvious, even for a kid's game like this. It does nothing. 1-1. It feels so bizarre talking about the 2016 Halloween party. It was kind of the last one. It's kind of like Food Battle 2016. You don't even remember it existing. It was just that kind of underwhelming finale. It's another fetch quest, but it's not quite as, frustrating, so I'm gonna give it more of a pass and put it up higher. Most of the contents of the party just include regurgitated previous events from many years ago, but I guess this was basically the best they could do, considering this was one of their last years before Disney completely pulled the plug on them. But I don't feel like there's much special about this. Let's just move on. 10. So this one's really just kind of awkward. I don't know what to say about it. How many people even remember the 2005 Halloween party over the beta party, which just kind of eclipsed it? There wasn't a lot in here, just a couple rooms with some decorations. I don't really know what to say about this one. It kind of has some nostalgia value, but I've never met anyone who had played at this point. If you're a 2005 Penguin, you a real one. I don't know how you do it, but congrats. But now it seems most of the boring ones are out of the way, so that's good. We can finally get to the more eventful parties. If any of these were your favorite, I don't care about them. Sorry, but kind of not sorry at the same time. Let's just keep going, okay? No stopping now. 9. Right around here at the first average one, we have 2006, which you can say is also kind of uneventful, but there's a few charms and quirks that I actually kind of like about it that make me put it a little bit higher than some of the less notable ones. The weirdest thing about it is probably that it sold wizard hats, like October Wizards. They were still figuring things out at this time, you can kind of tell. Also, they decided that one of the most obscure rooms at the time, the iceberg, should have these amazing southern lights. I mean, I still like the pumpkin more, but come on. It also didn't have to compete with the beta. unless you count the migrator, which was absolutely hard as hell and no one can convince me otherwise, but these intertwine better together in general. I guess because they're more different. Not much wrong with this one, but not much right either.
I don't
8.
have a favorite number.
2009, for all it was worth, just kind of came and went. Of course, it did introduce the haunted house, and apparently there was a bit of a smoke that was covering the island at the time. That's all I can really mention at this point. Maybe I just wasn't around for it, but this is another average one for me. If nothing else, this party wasn't without its cool areas. Of course, there was the house itself, nice while it lasted. There was the lab, which I actually kind of still like to this day, but I feel like the mines especially go hard. I've been mentioning the costumes sparingly, and I don't know where else to put this, but also you can get the pumpkin hat here. I mean, just look at this thing. I love it. 7. 11. No, really, number 7 is 2011, and I believe this is their 7th party, coincidentally enough. This one's kind of weird to talk about, because it's pretty good, but it also kind of meshes into 2 better, similar parties. It's one of the 3 to have this dark chamber, swamp, what was its name? I could say more, but I want to get to this a little bit later. Although, not much else to add other than great rooms, great exploration, overall great time to be a penguin. Wait, penguins, peglins, whatever, let's just keep going. 6. When I tweet that 2014 was a good era for Club Penguin, turn on my ringer, and then put my phone in my butt. I am considerably shocked that they put this much effort into the 2014 era, considering how far we were into the Disney hellscape. Now you can say what you want about the Puffle Hotel, but this actually felt like an event. You're not just clicking on random things, you're doing full puzzles, going through mazes, playing Simon by going through different rooms, and none of it was too convoluted for a kid's mind. Also, this bellhop guy right here, war criminal. This guy's kind of out of pocket. He just hates ghost puffles, and he refuses to elaborate. He just wants you to make a little Luigi's Mansion contraption to have them all just stuck there. But then he becomes a lot less interesting when you realize that he's a
Disney twist villain.
Yeah, so basically he just wants to become the strongest ghost ever and then just fires this ghost beam at you. It's not very interesting. You just kind of hit something and then shock his ass. Yeah, the ending sucks a lot, but you do get rewarded with a ghost puffle, and I don't care what you think about modern puffles, this guy is obviously the best. 5. So you remember the 2011 one that I didn't really elaborate much on? Well, this one's like, if the 2011 one was awesome. 2010 was around the time where I started playing, and it introduced a lot of great Halloween features that only showed up for a couple years for some reason. Although one thing that managed to persist is, I love this pumpkin. For no real reason, but I am the #1 pumpkin iceberg fan. Also, they should have never gotten rid of these lights. Anyone else remember carving a face into it? That's pretty much the only time I was ever here. It also had a nice set of puzzles, and this was where we got the brilliant set pieces like the swamp, the chamber, and the monster room that I previously mentioned. Pretty much all the rooms at this time had a lot of goofy charm to them. It was just a good time to explore the island. Of course, for all that's great about this, it's mostly carried by its rooms, and I'd say there's a couple above that are a bit more experimental. 4. So it took a long time to get used to the new style after 2012. But in the recent years I have come to like it, even if I prefer the 2010s, 2009 style the most. It's weird that I don't really hear people talk about this one much. There was a lot of cool new sceneries, great style at this time. I mean, just look at this thing. This was the year they let Rookie take over for a while, which is a nice change of pace, but he did screw up most of the PSA missions, so screw him. But of course I might as well get to the most important bit, which is the transformations. Yep, you look around the island and you can eventually turn into all your favorite cryptids. Well, not my favorite cryptids. I always wanted to be a skeleton, but that never really happened. The zombies were obviously the top tiers. They look grotesque and silly at the same time, which is perfect for this game, and I love their animation of just crawling out of the ground. Me in the middle of the night when I need water. Werewolves I kinda like, but not quite as much as the zombies. I think the one thing I remember the most is the howl, because I used to spam it, like hold down the D button, because you could do that at the time, and just spam it to have the same noise play, overlapping each other. Yeah, it was basically my goal around 2013 to just annoy the shit out of every other player as much as I could. And then the vampires are really funny without anything on, because it just looks like it yassifies your penguin. That's all I remember about vampires, though. Overall, I've come to really appreciate the gimmick and its memories. There's a bit more I would want to say, but I kinda want to also get to the next one, so let's do that. 3. 2008 might not look like much on the surface, but it's very casual and benefits a lot from that. I guess because it's an earlier one. This can be considered one of the best simple parties, building off of 2006 in an interesting way, and not adding way too much to be overwhelming, while also building up what would come for the future. A lot of great elements all around stuck, which I'll get to a little bit later, but I'd also like to focus on the ninjas. I think the reason why there's not as much in this party is because they were building up for ninjas, and hid stuff all around the island, which I have to congratulate them for how they handled this. People were crazy about ninjas during this time. Besides the coolest build-up in game history, there is one party that does pretty much everything else a little better. 2. Much like 2010 and 2011, this is like 2008 but more awesomer. I don't know why I keep saying that. This was the post-2006 overhaul. It gave us a spooky forest and also the coolest nightclub to ever hit the game. This was also around the time where we got an amazing hint at the Yellow Puffle, and the introduction of Night of the Living Sled, which is true cinema. This was one of those influential and iconic parties that'll be fondly remembered by anyone who was around at the time. It could even stand as one of the best moments in the old era, up there with PSA missions. While this party did set the stage for a lot, it's also very capable of standing on its own, and it has lots of great background gags as well, like Octi being seen at the Cove. But after all is said and done, there is one more party I consider to be at the top, which you can probably figure out by now. 2012. I don't think many will be shocked by this choice. This was the hardest thing to hit October, and one of the most memorable parties overall. It hit us with a mansion, a real one, that was chock full of exploration. Okay, sidebar, but you gotta see one of these trailers. It's so unnecessarily funny to me, and I don't even know why. I don't know, I think it's just the hidden Wilhelm scream. Anyways, back to things that are actually relating to my point. This house was atmospheric and blended super well into the island's style, and it was chock full of these amazing rooms, which makes this the perfect segue into ghosts. Yeah, so basically there was a room that let you turn into a ghost, and I think I actually like this more than the 2013 monster transformations. Maybe because of the concept, or maybe because they could do whatever this is, but I don't know, I'm Team Ghost. Alongside Ghosts, we also got an incredibly bangin' track from the Penguin Band and Cadence. It's in my October playlist, unironically. She was so real for this. Remember to never pass me the aux cord ever. You know, looking back, maybe I did take Club Penguin a bit for granted. Of course I think about it the same way I did before, but I can't help but think about it and smile. Maybe that's the nostalgia talking, and maybe I just miss that kind of landscape, but I don't know. I guess I just wanted to talk about it because there used to be a time where I couldn't help but talk about it to anyone, no matter what. So, what did I really learn from doing any of this? Hi, thanks for watching. I don't really know what else to add to this, so just have this dancing penguin.